Hey, what's up guys, it's Nightfall here, and today I'm going to be reviewing the HD port, and I do say that with air quotes, of Star Wars Republic Commando for the Nintendo Switch. Now before we get down into the details of how this 2005 gem still shines in the modern era of gaming, remember to hit subscribe and turn on notifications so that you never miss an upload. However, that being said, let's get to it. This is where the fun begins. Star Wars Republic Commando is a dark and gritty take on the events of the Clone Wars during the prequel era of Star Wars to an extent. It specifically follows the actions of Delta Squad, an elite team of clone commandos sent on special ops missions for the Republic. However, what makes Delta Squad, and quite frankly this game as a whole, stand out from the rest of the Star Wars universe is the personality that is put behind these characters. While canonically, each of the clone troopers produced for the Republic have identical voices, and the clone's original voice actor Temuera Morrison does play the squad leader, each of the other members of Delta Squad have a unique voice. Now, I know that this will be very off-putting to many die-hard fans of the franchise, but this makes perfect sense from a gameplay perspective. And not only that, but it assists in making a much more convincing and compelling character or multiple characters for the player to enjoy. I mean, just imagine if every single time somebody spoke in this game, you were confused as to whether it was your character speaking or a different member of the squad. I mean, I personally think that that would really take away from the game's immersion, so I'm perfectly okay with it. I mean, in giving these commandos unique colour palettes and voices, a true sense of humanity and individualism is given to the clones that is rarely seen in other areas of the Star Wars franchise, and I have to admit that I love it. I'd have to say that Sev the Sniper is my personal favourite member of the team, with a very no-nonsense get-the-job-done sort of attitude, but the other members of Delta Squad, Fixer and Scorch, are absolutely great as well. Moving onward, the gameplay holds up incredibly well for a 2005 first-person shooter, and quite frankly it makes you feel as though you're experiencing the struggles of the Clone Wars firsthand. When I scoped in to assist with aim, I actually found it harder to hit enemies than without aiming, as each shot I fired really clouded my view and cluttered the screen, making me think a lot more tactically about when to open fire and let a barrage into some Geonosians or droids. Now, I also don't know whether a feeling of recoil is intentional by the developers or whether I just suck at aiming, but this felt really engaging to me on some sort of odd level, and it gave each battle a proper feeling of intensity. The level of strategy required in each fight to succeed is surprising for a game of its time and genre as well. Your gun has multiple attachments, such as a sniper functionality and a pistol with unlimited ammo if your primary weapon runs out. There's also various grenades, etc, you know, pretty standard stuff for an FPS. However, the real strategy of Republic Commando comes from the management of the other members of Delta Squad. As the leader of the squadron, you're able to command your team to set explosives to clear yourselves a path, take up a position behind some rubble to act as a sniper to provide cover for the rest of your team, or even come and revive you if you happen to fall prey to some pesky Geonosians every now and again. By making the player concentrate on not only what they're doing, but also what their team is doing, the connections to the characters is deepened, and the depth of the gameplay is heavily enhanced, which I found remarkable for a game that's 16 years old. My only gripe from a gameplay perspective would be that a few areas and corridors seem very much alike, but the tactical prowess of the combat helps maintain player engagement, so I didn't really find this a huge issue. In terms of graphical quality and performance, the game is very typical of many ports to the Nintendo Switch. Widescreen support, a higher resolution, and that's about it really. But the game still looks pretty damn good, with the gloomy visuals perfectly suiting the game's tone. Occasionally, an enemy may blend into the background a little too much for my liking, but most of the time, the backgrounds serve to make the action happening on screen pop out and stand out more, which is really nice. I did, however, run into some really annoying issues with the frame rate from time to time during my playthrough, which did mildly affect my enjoyment of the game in some instances, but nothing too major. I'm sure that such problems won't occur on the PS4 version, but other than that, the game runs really well on the console. The only other thing that I can think of which comes to mind that may drag the game down a little in some people's regard is the lack of the multiplayer mode from the 2005 Xbox original. I'm not sure why exactly this was removed, or whether they just didn't think that the Switch in particular could handle it, but the PS4 definitely would be able to. But having never played the original, I'm not in a position to say that I'm missing out as such, but I can see why this would upset some fans. Just before I move on to my conclusive thoughts about the game, one little feature that I personally found incredibly useful in this game is the ability to customize my control scheme however I want, because the default settings really didn't feel that natural to me in any capacity. So, you know, it's a nice quality of life feature to be able to enjoy this game how you actually want to, which, you know, not a lot of games actually do, so that's definitely a plus. Overall, I'd say my experience with Star Wars Republic Commando was definitely an enjoyable one. I felt engaged with the characters throughout the duration of the story, however short it was, coming in at only around 7 to 8 hours in length. Visually, the game is nice, it ran fine enough, and so I'd be willing to say the game is worth maybe a 7 or 8 out of 10. So let's settle for a 7.5, shall we? I highly recommend this game to any Star Wars fan, especially as it's incredibly good for the modest price of $13.99 only. Well, that concludes my thoughts and opinions about Star Wars Republic Commando. Remember to leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe, hit the bell, and all that good YouTube stuff. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!